So before I start on, I just want to go back to a couple of sessions that happened yesterday. One was with Savitri from PayPal, and the other one that happened with the panelists, which talked about unification of the data and standardizing and making not making the data solo. So in continuation of that is where my presentation is today. Um, Now, what we have normally observed is we work upon something which is an reliability or observability only when something breaks. That becomes of a focus area. It's never part of our DNA. It's never part of the product roadmap. It's never part of what comes into us. It's just like afterthought. That is what we want to change, and that is where our whole discussion is for today. Now, a quick intro about me. I've been in the industry for close to 18 years, currently working as a consultant. Prior to that, I was with Razorpay, Blinkit, which is now acquired by Zomato, True Sparrow, which is a Fab.com company, and ZS Associates. Um, okay. Now, before I move on to this, I'll give you a quick point what we mentioned, what Naresh mentioned yesterday. Naresh yesterday talked about Coldplay as the issue that happened a couple of months back. What is that? Are we thinking about booking.com or bookmyshow.com, something of that kind, which went down? No. We do multiple bookings today. Many of you might have booked the Kantara movie as early as yesterday. Thinking about now weekend is coming up, let me go and watch the movie. So bookmyshow.com has worked fine. Nobody is talking about that. How do we associate that? We are associating that with a Coldplay show. Coldplay, which is not involved in the whole ecosystem, is being tagged it unnecessarily. So that's how where our customer looks at it. Even the problem is with us, the problem is not with us. End of the day, what really happens is our clients or our users face the heat of it. And that is where we want to change things. Why do this happen? Now, a couple of things. If you look down, silent failures. Now, think about your API. You might have certain, let's say your API has a success rate of, let's say, 70%. And you will say, if it falls below 60%, please raise a PagerDuty alert. That's typically how we configure it, and that is how we are used to it. But before that 60 to 70% that came in, there are a number of things that have failed. Number of users might have faced a bad story from your end. Are we counting those? We might have counted that in our RC document that we prepared, but not actually when it happened. That is our silent failures. Now think about latency spike. You think about that, we always over provision our infra. Definitely, if you need 100 millicore of it, we give 200 millicore of a pod resource to the system. Why? Expecting that things might go away and we are ready. But have you ever noticed that the latency will go for a toss? No. And if that goes out, we don't even notice it. Now, depends on the blind spot. Now think about it. You are working in an architecture which is of a microservice. You have something like, for example, 20 microservices talking to each other. Maybe your 16th microservice goes for a toss. And then one of your soft microservice, which is let's say 4th micro or 5th microservice, raises a PagerDuty alert. What do? Everybody from microservice 4 or 5 gets on a call and try to figure out what went wrong. End of the day, what happens? Then you realize, oh, something on the downstream service is broken. So the time you realize it, your MTTR has gone for a toss and multiple other consequences on top of it. Okay. Now, the lack of correlation. Now think about it. We have a pod logs, infra logs, everything sitting out there. You have your traces that are sitting out there. Everything is out there in their own silos. Everybody have their own infra setup out there, but everybody is in silos. That was also something that was talked about yesterday. And then too many alerts. Now, if you configure it to be very narrow, then your PagerDuty keeps on always ringing. Your on-call folks, the folks will be always on call, and there's too much of fatigue on top of it. And definitely what it end up is a bad employee experience altogether. Why does this happen? Because we came to a conclusion that microservice is the way to go forward. Everything has to be in so narrow. So microservice is where we end up having all these challenges. Second, reliability is an afterthought. That's all part of how we have been working in altogether. And then what is the end result? Your MTTR goes for a high, and your finding a root cause itself, it takes time. Now again, if I look at into an average look down, if I have MTTR is around 2 to 4 hours, The silent failures that we talked about is around 15 to 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It depends upon how you configure your alerts. Then understanding what exactly went wrong in your microservice when you have a 20 other microservices sitting together, that takes some time. It's not like we are humans. We need time to figure out all those things. And then once you fix it, let's say if it's a revert, it's a simple, your builds are ready, you just go and deploy the whole thing. But what if it's a forward fix? You need to again commit the changes, the new things. There's no rollback. Then you have to wait for the build to happen. Some unit integration test has to run on top of it. Then you deploy. Then you go and see, oh, things are working fine. The alerts are going down. Now things are stable. It takes its own time. End of the day, your MTTR goes for a toss. And for the company, it's a revenue hit. Maybe in a short term, maybe you might not get the traffic out there. Second, he might think, what are alternatives to my current company that I'm serving in? Definitely. So the customer starts moving out. Once you have a bad name, nobody comes back. So to solve for this, there are three pillars that we need to look at. One is a unified pipeline. Unified pipeline is what we're talking about, where we say that everything has to be in one place where any developer, any on-call folks, any of your SRE, everything has to see and look at it and say, this is where the problem is. You reduce your MTTD, MTTR by only solving by unification, not keeping everything in silos. The second thing, again, Savitri again talked about yesterday, is the standard data. What is standard data? The example that she quoted yesterday. At one place you're calling something as merchant ID, other place you're calling it as a customer ID, third place you're calling user ID. It's one and the same thing. But what we are doing it? We are used to it because we don't have standardization in the organization. And then SLA, SLO driven, that thought process is definitely not there. We'll talk about the SLA, SLO in a couple of slides. So the solution is unification of the observability strategy, not only just the data. Okay. Now SLI, the service level indicators, what exactly they talk about? They talk about the request latency. What is your request latency? What is that? Is our success rate that we are expecting? Do we have that in our tech specs or your product spec, whatever you're calling out? The SLO. Think about a simple example. We talk about saying that I'm 99% up. I'm not. Have you thought about something like 99% up with the latency under 300 milliseconds? Because that's a number that I have agreed with my product. That's a number that I have agreed with my customers. Do we have that data point? There are companies that I know who are going for 5 nines. When I say 5 nines, it's 99.999. First take a goal of 99, followed by 99.9, 99 and 3 nines. That is where company is moving towards. And as a company that we work in, do we have an error budget? What is error budget? Nothing much. It says that I am okay in having a maximum problem of my product that are there, maximum till let's say 1%, 0.01%. Some numbers you need to define. Do we have that? If that budget is not there, first thing is have that budget. Second thing you need to think about is if the budget is there and you are breaching those budget, stop all the feature development. No feature development. Get back to your stability. Get back to the problems that you are solving. Where are your gaps in your organization? Is it testing gap? Is it alerts gap? Is it some development gap? The reviews are your gaps. Think about where exactly the problem is. So why are you? Is any pattern towards it? Fix those problems and not just fix where it is, but make it standardized across the organization. You don't want to do an after effect of that. Okay. Okay. Now, what are the features when you talk about reliability? Simple. Latency is the big thing because everybody talks about scale today. Everybody says that we want to have scale. We want to solve for 1 million, 10 million transactions, 5 million transactions. If you're solving for it, if I'm at there, what is my P90, P95, P99? Think about that. If you say, I have the slowest API, yes, definitely it's going to happen because things cannot be always stable. Do you have the budget for that? Think about that. Now you look back at your last 3 months, 6 months data and say, how often do I get 502? Is it something, is it spike problem? Is it that I have a dependency on a third party which is going down regularly? Do you have that data point in place? What are my 502? Don't just rely on the data that's saying that there's no complaints coming from customer. That does not mean there's nothing wrong. Your logs are your customers. Okay. Now we talked about again the APIs. Again, infra. What is here? Are we throwing money on AWS? Think about that. Like we have, everybody has an auto scaling setup. We don't have fixed servers the way the industry works today. We might have said something like, if I'm working in an Kubernetes, I might say minimum pods 10, maximum can go till 30. How often are that my pods that are scaling up is going beyond 20, 25, 30? Definitely there's a problem with your code. That doesn't get noticed unless the month end when you see the AWS bill and says, oh, I'm burning my pocket. That's the problem. Okay. Now, what is the solution that we are proposing here? The one thing that we are proposing is, one, go for OTel, which Jones just talked about a couple of minutes back. Unification of the whole data points that is there. And New Relic definitely helps in one of those ways. And there are many open source, Datadog, multiple other open source, other tools that are there in the market. Definitely we can use one of those. The second thing is, when we talk about AI, we just talked about just the data and setup and everything. Now with the AI world, what is that differently that we can do? Definitely AI is there to help us. And there are three levers that we need to look at it. The first one is detection of the issues that happen, because we don't know how and what it works in. The second part of it is, it has to detect early in the cycle, not when a PagerDuty comes in, not when a customer, your marquee merchants comes and calls you on your WhatsApp, your support tickets, multiple other places and says something is not working, and then it goes through a chain of internal escalations and then somebody starts looking at it. Not when the customer says it. And third part of it is correlate things. If you're working in a microservice architecture, realize that there are things going to fail, figure out where the problem is as early as you can. That is the critical point. That is how you can reduce the MTTR. Okay. So what we did exactly, we had multiple models looked into. Multiples are there in market. You can figure out what is right. And for us, LSTM worked out well for us. Why LSTM? There's nothing called right and wrong. Why not I for S? No, that is not the answer. It's just that did not work out for my use case. Okay. Then there's a random function for rest out there, and Bayes network. Now it's not just one model, it's a combination of models sitting together. Each of them came together, they helped us in solving each of those different problems. LSTM helped us to play back old issues that has happened. These helped us to understand what went wrong in the past. It generated its own LLMs. Now random forest helped us to figure out the noise and avoid those noise. And Bayes network helped us to figure out where exactly the problem is. Okay. Now before this was our architecture. Now if you look at it, any of these, your Fluentd gave us your infra data, your Jaeger gave us your other application problem, and Prometheus had the application related information. Everything was silo, everything was going to their own data point. And then there were some alerts that were configured. Then there was an alerting mechanism which went into your PagerDuty, and then your on-call engineer came in and then figured out what's the problem, he figured out. Now if you look at this whole pipeline, there are multiple touch points. For an engineer, on-call engineer, he needs to look at all these 4 places to figure out where exactly things went wrong. So what we did? Nothing. Everything remained the same. But these metrics went in OpenTelemetry. This OpenTelemetry went into Kafka because we wanted a unification view for the on-call engineers to look at it, and Elastic for the searching part of it, and then the rest of things followed as part of it. So the end result is nothing. We were at 20 P1s in the quarter. It dropped to 6. Okay. Your MTTR reduced from 180 to 240 minutes as an average, the range that we were in, and we dropped to 45 minutes. Okay. They were weekly PagerDuties, like 250 PagerDuties used to run in because of the alerting, the way we configure. Thanks to AI and how we implemented it, it went to 50 to 75. It's far better than where we are, but that's not the answer. It still needs to go down, but that's not the answer. Incident detected by users, it was more than 50% of our users, because my numbers are very bad. Right now with the help of AI, it's just under 5%. Okay. Now time spent on it, the data collection, that you figure out where exactly went wrong, it was close to 2 hours. We are under 15 minutes because AI is taking its own call. And the silent failure which we talked about was around 15 to 45 minutes. Now it's under 5 minutes. Okay. So how did we roll it out? Not an easy thing to do when it comes to that. The trust factor within the organization, when you build something, that building a trust is one of the biggest thing when you want something like this kind to happen. The first thing that we did was we replayed all the older issues that were there. We took 6 months of data because anything more than that would spoil my data and that data consistency is not there. So we replayed all the issues that were there, how it was set up. Then we did a shadow mode. Whenever the issue happened for next 1 month or so, my on-call engineer was sitting on the call, and parallelly I was making sure my agents are looking at things how it's working fine. Then we made sure the humans are in loop. What does it mean is the AI used to suggest what action I needs to take, where the problem is, and the human or the on-call engineer used to say yes, the direction that the AI is giving me is right or wrong. That was it, and then we rolled it out to production where we are doing. And because of all this, that is how my time spent on the RCA, user detection, everything went down, and my MTTR has gone. Now each one of us have a P1 as a definition. You cannot count every instance of yours as a P1. There's a P0, P1, P2, P3, it depends on how the organization works in. Now the P1 we talked about, none of them fell into that category. The 6 issues that we're talking about are the new issues that got introduced, not the older ones. Okay. So what did this help us? One, detecting 85% of our issues within 15 minutes. That's a good sign for us because our P1 now goes down. The second thing, definitely we saved a lot of dollars for the company because each minute that is lost is money that is being that is not coming to the company as an income. The third part, my engineers started looking into a constructive thing. No longer on-call work, no on-call business now. They can focus on the engineering part of it. Team confidence definitely increased and reliability became a culture within the organization. And what at the end of the day, my customers are satisfied. Okay. What is the lesson learned from this? The lesson was, again, don't use the standard tools that are there. Go for, don't use the 4 or 5 different tools that are there in the market. Use one tool which will help you to solve all of those. Okay. Second thing, observability should be as a core. It should be a thought process. It should be culture within the organization. 3, AI is here to not to replace human, but it's more of an augmentation. And start SLI and SLO as a thought process in the organization that is coming in. Okay. To implement this out there, definitely we had a lot of challenges out there. Okay. When I talked about 6 months of data that I was trying to show, there was a lot of things. The merchant ID example that I talked about, definitely that was not there. The standardization was missing in the organization. We had to work through to make sure what is that I want to do as a standard thing. That was one given as a top-notch priority out there. Second, the behavior of the pattern keeps on changing. Think about it this way. Dasra is coming up. Flipkart, Amazon might run sale. Your Swiggy, Zomato might run some sale, but that does not mean some other merchants might not run the sale. Okay, your data for October might not be same as the data of what is August or July data. So definitely data keeps on changing. Keep a constant monitoring of those data and work towards that. Okay, make sure your building a trust and adoption within organization was a big challenge because nobody accepts it. No, and then definitely we made mistake. Initial thought process, there were mistakes out there. So that needs to build in within the organization. Cost, definitely when you do this, you're doing a lot of work in terms of how the data comes in, you're storing those data out there. Definitely you're spinning up a lot of infra, AWS and everything that is coming in. So that is going to increase your cost. Okay, that is something that definitely was a challenge for me to get the budgeting in place. Okay. Now, what is the future roadmap? Now, one, we talked about everything. These are the latency that we talked about. Now, that's an afterthought. Can I simulate something? Can I move the whole infrastructure to say, can I predict if the system will fail at this higher level? That initial thought process of automating the load testing was a big thing. Okay. Now we talked about 50 minutes of our RCA. Can I reduce that 50 minutes to even better than that? That should be under my thought process. Costing we just talked about, where we said my AWS bill went high because of the spinning up a lot of those infra and other things for observability. Can I reduce that? That should be one of my thought process. And definitely mimic the end-to-end user journey. try to see if I can predict something from that of how the API has been called out here. And definitely not the least, we have multiple sessions going on security. Can I leverage that also as part of this? And finally, I want to end with this note is saying that start today with defining your P50, P90, P95, P99, everything in the organization. Unless and until you don't do that, it will be too difficult to say that we are making a change. And observability can never be an afterthought within the organization if you want to scale.